So I guess Bly, while he's been waiting to hear what's going on, decided to turn on the stream and see what the delays were about. So he messages me and he's like, "It's not about testing my metal versus Neeb. It's because he's my friend. Oh my god." I said, first I said, well, I said something I shouldn't say on stream, but then I also said, "Jesus, Bly, shut up the stream, you goddamn stream cheater."
Ooh.
Thank you Zarfield for the bits. Gonna be the new bit boss. Troggy D and other people have been doing like little bits at a time. Haru was temporarily the bit boss with a Kaioken times 15 months. Came in for some big damage. Thank you, Haru, for playing those games with me last night, by the way. I do appreciate it. KeeN is online, so KeeN didn't log off. He didn't get stuck at the lobby login thing, which is great, which means now we're just waiting on ShoWTimE, who I have messaged. He's about 17 minutes into a ladder game, so he's not going to see that message, but it also means that that ladder match probably won't be going on for too much longer, I hope. But that being said, knock on wood.
Oh boy.
To be perfectly clear for those who weren't understanding what's going on here, Neeb and many others cannot log in. The login servers are screwed up, not just for StarCraft, but for almost all the Blizzard titles right now. So we're putting a pause on him versus Bly, since it was outside of his control and not his fault. Bly was okay with this too, so they are currently tied up 1-1, and we will go back to cast the rest of that series after this semifinals. I know it's awkward and not the most efficient way to go about doing things, guys, but it's the only way we're going to make this work today without unfair walkovers and disqualifications. I certainly don't want to disqualify Neeb. They have a good series going on. Hey,
yeah.
So tomorrow's a pretty big day, huh?
Yeah, it's Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy comes out.
Yeah, too.
And then nothing else.
And then nothing else. It's also Stellan's birthday.
Who cares about birthdays?
Hey, man. All the best people were born in May.
Like who? Name at least 5.
Stalin.
The best people, and you put Stalin at the top of that list, first in line.
Rotterdam.
The city?
Yeah, I was born.
Well, you can't use the city because you just said people. The best people are born in May. Checkmate.
Oh no.
Oh shit. We never get donations. Who was that? $15 from Dubtrub. Long-time watcher, been a sorry ass about contributing. I hope to do more in the future. Thanks for keeping the dream alive. Aw, dude. Just keep watching, man. But thank you so much for the $15. We definitely appreciate that. I guess we should talk about that. So we're gonna be doing some touch-ups to the Mega Tournament fundraiser. Honestly, it's gotten really stale, and I wanna get it going again. So I'm thinking about, like, we're gonna stop taking donations for that through the channel unless people, like, you know, hashtag it a certain way. But I gotta find a way to get more traction going for that fundraiser. I mean, our goal's 30K.
Yeah.
I'm totally aware we might not hit that number, but it's just that regardless whether it was at 5, 7, 15K, it hasn't gotten much love over the last few weeks. So I guess while we are waiting for ShoWTimE, guys, do us a favor. If you haven't already, type !MEGA in chat and check out the fundraiser we got going over there. It's all the contributions, all the money, all the stuff through that fundraiser is just going to be going towards hopefully a really awesome live event. Again, the logic here is, like, if Blizzard's not going to be hiring us to be casting dream hacks and IEMs, we've got to make our own stuff, right?
Totally.
Finale says, am I seeing this right? Rifkin's mouse has 12 buttons on the side. Oh yeah, so I'm using the Corsair Scimitar. This is not for everybody, but I play a lot of World of Warcraft, so the MMO and the macro buttons are really great for this. This is a cool customizable mouse, though. First off, you can see this light here. If I press the thing on the top, you can adjust the DPI, and I'll make it, like, go red or green and, like, higher and lower as far as, like, sensitivity goes. But the thing on the side with all the buttons, you can actually push it up and back. It's a really comfortable, like, I like it in the back, but don't clip that. But it's really comfortable to use, and I enjoy it. I wouldn't say that this is like a StarCraft mouse, if we're going to be perfectly honest. But if you do other things, I think it's great. That being said, ShoWTimE's finally out of game, and we've invited him to the lobby. So we got ShoWTimE versus KeeN in a TVP. This is going to be a fresh, brand new series. Things got junked up with the whole Bly Neeb situation because of login servers, but yeah, let's get into a game. Let's not sit around too long twiddling our thumbs.
Twiddling. It's a weird word.
I'd like to point out you did not name yourself in that list, by the way. Why would you not do that?
I'm born tomorrow? That's weird. I didn't know that.
Were you? That's a weird thing I should consider. I was born tomorrow.
Yep.
It's hurting my brain. It's giving me the fuzzies.
That's
all right.
how I'll say it.
This is the other semifinal, so I'll walk you guys through the situation for anyone just tuning in, as it is a little bit confusing. However, we are getting into this first game in a brand new best of 5. Spawning here in the lower right, we have the red Terran player, KeeN.
In the bottom left is the blue Protoss. It is ShoWTimE.
Okay, so for those who don't know what's going on, Bly and Neeb have still not completed their series. It got a little bit awkward on account of the fact that there's login issues for the EU server, and Neeb had needed to relog. So we're not punishing anybody with the disqualifications yet. We're going to give them, hopefully, the time. And Blizzard, I just checked on Twitter, too, as I'm saying this. Blizzard customer support has said they're looking into investigating the login issues for the EU region. Again, this is not limited to just StarCraft. It's other games, too. So hopefully, by the time this series, this best of 5 is done, we can resume Bly versus Neeb. However, regardless of whether this is 3 games or 5 games, when this series is done, if Neeb can still not play, then it'll be walkover time.
Yes. So that is a lot of complications for this cast today. Kind of sucks. We'll make it work. Oh well.
Yeah, definitely not the smoothest thing of all time. However, I will say I do hope it gets fixed, because Neeb, I don't know about this series. I actually favor ShoWTimE so heavily, but
yeah.
Neeb and Bly, I thought Neeb was going to walk over Bly, and that first game blew me away. So I want to see more out of those two.
Yeah, I'm still on the idea that like Bly was able to win because Neeb was just being a little too carefree with his units, and he would fix that from this point forward. But we'll never know if they don't continue to play. So that sucks. It's ShoWTimE versus KeeN. I'm definitely on there with the whole idea that ShoWTimE should just be 3-1 probably. KeeN gonna give KeeN like one of those wins as well, but maybe even not that. I mean, KeeN got here obviously, I suppose. I don't know if he's actually points based or he's replacement, but the point is he does win in our cup still, but I don't think he's won a cup in a long time. He's had his ups and downs, and lately it's feel like it's been more down.
So this is kind of cool. I really like the way ShoWTimE hit his probe behind the smoke so he could pull off that possible pylon rush that seems to be on the way. The Adept will shoo the Reaper away, and that won't be too big of an issue. And yeah, this ends up being really annoying.
Oh yeah, followed up by a Stargate. I mean, off of 2 bases, but there's always a chance that the Terran player messes up with it. Or, I mean, if they go for the Widowmine defense, I think there's a pretty high chance that it messes up, because then the Widowmine might get the wrong shot off.
I love that he loads up the SCV and picks that up to the high ground with him. That was really cute. Keeps it alive.
Reaper gets taken on the other side, no chance for counter. Of course, KeeN saw this coming, and that's one of the reasons he lifted his command center. He didn't really have to, but he decided to.
Well, if you're a Terran fan, you're just really glad that he can finish the command center. And a lot of the times that ends up sitting here down in Limbo Town, and you wonder if it's going to get canceled or not. That probe, had it been like a few seconds sooner, and that would have actually been the case.
I think maybe the probe could have soaked up a Widowmine, and that would have been some good use of it, but it just says go home. The Oracle didn't even come out, did it? It's just a Phoenix.
I like the Phoenix a lot more, to be honest. I think that the inevitable counterattack from this is going to be a drop. You recognize that early on, too. And whether those Phoenix are out there to pick off the medevac or just to scoop up that inevitable Widowmine, I think that they're pretty reliable defense.
Cyclones coming with. Surprising. I mean, yeah, the Phoenixes are going to be helpful. They can even lift that Cyclone, I suppose, now that he's bringing it.
Yeah. I mean, their best feature is their ability to crowd control. No other unit in the game can do it quite like them. Thank you, Ole Kalamas, for that new sub. Glad to have you on board. Welcome to the Base Trade Brigade. But KeeN's coming in for that drop, and we'll see how much this really gets done. It looks like nothing at all. It's Ned Flanders, nothing at all.
Didn't expect the Phoenixes, and was anticipating the Oracle across the map as well, so like the Widowmine was even here to help out. Yeah, I think a very effective opener for ShoWTimE. If he really wanted to try and make things work with an Oracle, he probably could have. I mean, Hero does this all the time. And he does some neat little tricks with the probe soaking up the Widowmine, or with an Adept soaking up the Widowmine. But ShoWTimE really was just looking for the bit of various amount of damage, instant defense against the counterattack, and now he has a third base on the way. Good thing that SCV was repairing. That deck was quite low. Can't blame ShoWTimE for looking for the snipe on it. I mean, he even might, like, yeah, 3 Phoenixes I guess can't snipe a full medevac, but without stim, it's going to be hard for these Marines to always be in the right location.
Well, Phoenix Adept is not a new playstyle. In fact, we've seen this many times before. Also, like, did all the Cloudmans just double sub?
Looks like it.
Double
yes.
new sub?
Sure.
Double trouble.
Oh wow. ShoWTimE already has a nice number of Adepts and Phoenixes, and while they don't have Resident Glaives or +1, he's just looking for the kill anyways, and he might have found it. No, more Marines come down, and that's a little bit too scary. I mean, it's still kind of questionable, to be honest, but maybe not with Resident Glaives and +1 still in the way.
Well, ShoWTimE has done a considerable amount of damage this game. Of course, he got the depots, the reactor earlier, but I think what's most impressive is he hasn't really lost anything for this. In fact, the 100 minerals lost is just that pylon. That's it. So great control so far.
Yeah. 20 probes up, third nexus, upgrades almost done. ShoWTimE wanted to push the issue, maybe he could. He's got the Viking, maybe he's still gonna dodge the Widowmine.
Oh man, he's getting a lot with these Phoenix that he shouldn't be.
Yeah, I was awfully close to getting a shot by that, but oh well. Tags up with the Oracle. The Oracle is probably just gonna look for a Revelation. Gateways, Warp Prism finally on the way. Probably from that Robo. KeeN does not have a third base. Just getting production now. I don't know if he should be moving out here. Taking a very odd path to do so. I mean, obviously he's been tagged with Revelation, so it's not like he's gonna get to any secrets, but okay. Adepts are waiting in position, and there are a lot of them. A lot of them. I don't think KeeN's gonna find much success here. Even with the Widowmines.
Yeah, they end up doing a bit of friendly fire too. I don't know how pro players always do that so perfectly, but despite that, despite the 4 Widowmines, oh, these Phoenix can clean this up too. Can't even unload with the Adepts chasing. That's gonna feel awful for KeeN.
I did feel very just like, this has been a bad game for me. I'm gonna attack, because that really, it's always so suspicious to attack into an Adept Phoenix player anyways. But especially like the whole lack of Marines going forward, lack of scan to see what the army looked like that just kind of felt hopeful to me.
Well, ShoWTimE might not have might not have had a whole hell of a lot of tech going into this, but this is not anything even close to all in. Like, he's actually got quite a bit on the way behind this, and a 4th base. So just through and through, I love his position in this game. Looks like a Widowmine in the main, got about 7 probe kills though. That's not too shabby. Marine's looking for a couple more. However, while this goes on, ShoWTimE's definitely contemplating just breaking down that door and trying to end the game.
Yeah, it's always so difficult to break down the supply depot wall first, though. That's a lot of damage taken on the Adepts without them getting what they want, so I just hold off on it. But 14 probes really is not that shabby. 4th base is already over halfway done, and ShoWTimE should just be able to remake those. ShoWTimE not paying attention initially, because I'm saying he maybe could have focus fired more Widowmines, but now he is. Oh yeah. I mean, KeeN has been hurting for this entire game, but especially after that last attack, not too surprising.
There we go. Honestly, just wasn't much to be said.
3 tabs. It's just so weird, man. Rewind.
Oh yeah, the rewind option. I'm gonna click it.
Okay.
Whoa, that was cool. I'll just instantly put you at the end of the replay. Oh, that's pretty neat.
Eat a burrito.
See what Zymer was looking at. Her camera's all over the place.
Is it?
I wonder if this is part of the observing problem.
I think so. I was following you, despite the stuttering and shit.
Alright, well, let's rewind in a nutshell for you guys.
The guy that did the double sub, by the way, like, you don't usually sub and then an option to announce on the channel, do you? I thought that was the announcement.
No, that's new actually. That's a new thing. So yeah, I forgot about that. Mega Dog says it's been 5 months. Please have a no prize money GSB tournament.
I think that's
silver,
cool.
bronze.
Yeah, I think so.
But keep up the good work and take my money. I mean, honestly, maybe once in a blue moon wouldn't be too terrible, but I gotta be honest, guys. I cast a free-for-all with you schmucks in chat a little while back, and it made me want to kill myself. I don't know if I could do a gold, silver, bronze tournament. And that's not coming from a place of pompousness. That's just coming from a place of, like, we're overworked. Like, we got so much on our schedule to specifically clear out a day for it. I will say it's not an impossibility. It's something that we might just be able to entertain, but I wouldn't get your hopes up is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I remember casting some of the lower league tournaments a long time ago. But yeah, it very rarely has anything to do with the fact that it's like lower league. I mean, it's actually very fun to watch two people who are equal skill level in almost anything, as long as they're equal skill level. It's more that a lot of the time there's a lack of responsiveness and professionality that goes with the tournament that makes it very annoying. So it can be difficult.
Yeah, I remember we were casting a league that was supposed to be somewhat professional with amateur players who would actually argue with us, like, about why should we veto, why should we make a map, why should we log on, and I'm like, because that's how the tournament works. That's how you should progress through the tournament as normally anybody else would.
Yeah, you think it's so easy, but even I remember like playing back in those tournaments, like when I was either gold or masters playing in these like online tournaments, online clan wars. I just remember so many of my peers, I guess at the time, were also like really obnoxious about it. Like you think that it's just as easy as show up and do what, you know, you're supposed to, but it's, I don't know. I mean, clearly that's also a problem with some of the pro gamers, have their own like little quirks and stuff like that, but they've all been very accustomed to how tournaments work. There usually isn't too much.
Big shouts to Duddles, new bit boss. Getting into game number 2 in this best of 5, spawning in the lower right, we got a red Terran player, KeeN.
In the top left, as the blue Protoss, it is ShoWTimE. And I was wondering what Wonderful Guy meant by my sick burn. I think, unless I forget, did I burn you? I don't think I did. No, I don't think I did. I think what he's saying is that because you were like, why are you jumping around all over the place? And I was like, I don't know, just following your camera. Kind of be like a burn. That was just a fact. And I think the observer interface is all types of wonks. I mean, hey, it hasn't been touched in a long time. When you think about it, you know, they've gone through a list of things that bug out or shouldn't be the way that they are. We got the mini map. We had control groups, I think, once. We have the lobby bugs, and the map making bugs, and now they finally come around to the observer interface being bugged. It had to happen. Well, hopefully, I mean, I'm gonna make sure to tell them, because I guess I was thinking about like who else would tell them Blizzard, I guess, directly, and I'm just like, well, you know, Wardy solo casts. We're the only ones that are casting like every day with 2 people that swivel and follow each other's cameras, so
yeah, a lot of weird things. Actually, there's a really cool Phoenix bug. Do you know about this, the Dragoon Unlimited thing?
Oh, Phoenix the character? No, I don't know.
Yeah, Phoenix the character, excuse me. Yeah, in co-op. So he's got that thing that's like the uses abilities with no cooldown for a few seconds. If you at the very last second of it swap out to the Arbiter, it doesn't work when you swap to like the Praetor suit, but if you swap to the Arbiter and then swap back, it's just like it's permanently on all the time. So I've just been like going through these like level up my Phoenix missions where I just have no cooldown on any of his Dragoon abilities permanently. It's pretty awesome.
And it hasn't been fixed yet?
No, I reported it to the co-op, one of the co-op guys, though. Hopefully they'll fix it.
I did see you tweeting about it.
Hey, thank you,
I think
Metalhead Ed, for the Twitch Primes. Is too slow, Zombie Grub.
Okay.
Too slow.
Well, whatever. And that's what leads us to just mutually skipping sub names.
I know.
Because the other one assumes you're gonna get it. Hey, thank you, Big Hero, for continuing to donate bits.
I gotta make up, man. I haven't been able to cast the last couple of days. I gotta snipe those.
I suppose so. Thank you to I Am Jax High for
Shit.
25-month resub. I mean,
I was blowing my nose, okay? I would have gotten that one too.
I don't know. You're talking. You had already done that. Well, it's happening in this game. I mean, KeeN had a bit of a late scout. Looked suspicious for a second. Not really talk about. Just going for regular macro back at home, and so is ShoWTimE. I mean, ShoWTimE is going for like longer on 2 bases, obviously, than last game. No Stargate into 3rd base.
It does suck losing the Reaper so quick, though. I mean, he got a brief scout, really, but not enough to confirm any of the hard tech structures. You can see a Robo, but, you know, Twilight Council behind it, Dark Shrine, maybe. Is there a Stargate that you missed? Like, he unfortunately didn't see any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, for folks coming in, we already explained it, but I'll go over it again briefly. Bly versus Neeb is currently tied up 1-1, and it's on pause. There's European login server issues right now, so we're giving them until the end of this series. If for whatever reason Neeb can still not log in by the time this one's done, then he will be disqualified at that point. He was okay to forfeit the games, but we wanted to give him a chance for time to maybe fix the issue, as Blizzard customer support has tweeted that they are looking into the issues at the moment.
It kind of sounded like Blizzard custard support, and I was like, well, in case your custard tastes gross.
All the desserts.
Yeah.
The Racer 2000 and Slimy Franco. Slimy Franco for 2 friggin' years, and then Racer for 5 months. Has loved the stream, been enjoying your stream for 1 year now. Oh, wait, hasn't been sub for a year. Okay, that took me a moment. Like 5 months, 1 year. Something doesn't add up here. But he probably watched and then subbed later. That makes perfect sense. And now I love every moment of it. Greatly appreciate your hard work. Well, thank you very much for giving me the most awkward sub shout-out read of all time.
Glad you got that one. Someone asked how to get a part 2 after the 12-month sub, too. I mean, we're still doing that. We never stopped, so...
Yep. Still goes on.
You can PM BaseTradeTV on Twitch, not Whisper, PM. I say that, too, because, I mean, for the last couple of months, we've had, like, a very big number of part 2s that I've had to send out. It's been quite a lot of cash every time, but this month, there's only 2 people. And one of those people was someone that I was supposed to give it to live at the event, and they just asked me to. Yeah, he kept forgetting to mention it, and I don't just have one in my pocket.
I actually brought some with me too, and I realized when I was unpacking, I'm like, why did I bring this? Oh, for the guy we met. We even drank with him. I always have one in my luggage and in my bag, which usually I bring my bag everywhere, but this event I really didn't want to. So he admitted that he just didn't bring it up. So but the point is, like, it's I don't know if people just didn't have 12-month subs this month, or maybe there's been some miscommunication, but no, we still give them out. Turn them into whatever you want. Medallions aplenty. Alright, well, again, not a lot happened so far, but we have a very interesting unit composition, actually, with a Raven mixed in here with KeeN. And I like the Raven a lot. Detection's cool, obviously, but I'm a lot more interested to see on the ability usage. Unfortunately, point defense turn is not going to stop much, but auto turrets deal so much damage, they might even be able to help deal with the Adepts.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, ShoWTimE, a lot of Adepts here. I think they got faster Resident Glaives in last game because, right, he went for the Twilight Council. And then later on, the 3rd base, which is now fully saturated and looks, you know, like what is the opener. But no, there was a bit of a different opener. So the Adepts are a bit of a surprise timing, I assume. Very dangerous to send the War Prism forward like that. If there's only 4 more Marines, I would have died. Yeah,
but there wasn't, so it works out. And a lot of Adepts now blitzing this for KeeN, who's rushing back home. He does take out the War Prism, and these Adepts look like they're just going to get corralled and killed here on the ramp.
Yeah, those auto turrets are in prime placements for 2 seconds there. Spidey finally went down, so at least he's forcing the army to come back and chase him.
It doesn't have any custom shells.
He must have just been right about to get it, and now he might forget. That might hurt later on, but ShoWTimE, well, he didn't get what he wanted because I do assume he wanted to save that War Prism and continue with at least 4 more Adepts at a time, harassing. Instead, that died, and the Adept stack didn't do a whole lot more. So Surprised to see him moving out here. He thinks twice. Pulls back. Yeah, he didn't... It wasn't that he didn't get a lot of SCVs. It was also that a lot of army didn't go down either. Like, most of the Adept's time was spent on the supply depot.
Yeah,
with only like a handful of units otherwise. So he should be very careful with how he does this. Now, ShoWTimE's getting 2 robos, robotic space, so... I don't know if it's going to go for Disruptors or Colossus. We've seen both now, if Protoss does get to robotic space.
I wish in my bones that this was battle cruisers, but I know that it's Liberator range.
Well, it's also Colossus.
Well, Liberator range should be great for that too, but it always hurts so badly, dude. Just like, there's the potential. You just...
Yeah.
It's like watching your kid play World of Warcraft all day. He's just squandering his potential. Could be a lawyer by now. City's being Liberator range.
Yeah, it's more like you wanted your kid to play StarCraft 2, but they're playing Warcraft 4 instead, and you're like, well, you know, it's not bad. It's not bad, little Joey, but it's not good either. Anyways, the Colossus, though, versus Liberator dynamic can be interesting. I mean, if you get 4 Colossus, they do damage, but... I mean, at one point in time, that was literally like they were kind of a counter almost to Liberators a long time ago in a very, very weird way. Oh, no.
Well, this is interesting, actually. ShoWTimE last game also took some damage to these Widow Mines, and I'm not sure if it's complacency or lack of map awareness or what the deal is, but this does seem to be a bit of an Achilles heel for him, where these sort of later Widow Mine drops are, well, they're always getting kills. Oli Klimas in chat wants to know, he was up for a year earlier, but am I still eligible for a Partoof? Unfortunately, unless your thing says like a year when you resub, I don't have a way to verify that. It's not that I don't trust you, but we have to keep the policy fair for everybody. So we've had a lot of other people who we know were subbed for a year, and then had like a break and then came back, and we also had to refuse them. So I'm gonna unfortunately say no, dude. Unless your thing says 1 year next to your name, we can't send you a Partoof. Not a real life one, at least.
Send you 1 Partoof on the bot.
Yeah, I can give you a Partoof on the bot for sure.
Okay, so drops coming in here once again. Scans going down on the army, so I think KeeN realizes what composition is here, and that is important. Otherwise, he might have been stuck. Well, he might have just thought it was pure depth, and that would have been obviously wrong. But with how the game has gone, he was assuming, I'm going to guess, that there was robotic space. Just a question of what it is. Is it 4 Colossus? Is it 3? Is it none? Is it ready to Disruptors? It's 3 into Disruptors, which is probably the most common count to see them. Oh, no, actually, it might be 4. It is 4 Colossus. This one was hiding in the back.
Medvac gets picked off, and its cargo dies with it. Feels bad.
Not too effective, but KeeN on 4 bases... And with a very good defensive setup with Liberators and Liberator range, probably isn't too worried about, you know, you get slam dunked by feedback with 4 medevacs, you're instantly counterattacked and you're just dead. I mean, he might be a little less worried about that, as his home defense should be pretty good. He's got Ghosts on the way, as well as Vikings. You can't really depend on Liberators to take care of the Colossus. Not the same way that you can depend on Vikings, I suppose. But ShoWTimE is also on his way to late game PvT, so... Not just a Stargate for an Oracle, but more Stargates and a Fleet Beacon for Tempests or Carriers. Either one.
Yeah, that's a weird choice. I don't really feel like Carriers have the spot in the matchup. Void Rays are the best at killing Liberators, but if you're worried about range, then Tempests are the easy solution. They just take so long to actually kill the Liberators, even 4 or 5 shots.
Yeah. I mean, it really is Tempest first, and if you happen to have a super long game, I guess we really go into mass air, then... Yeah, maybe we'll see Carriers later on. But there are the Tempests. These are Tempests before Storm, which is not too uncommon. It's not like totally surprising. But it is something to note, as a lot of times, if the Vikings find decent positioning, it's Storm that really stops them in their tracks. They'd have to find good positioning. And there's not really a lot of them now as the ground army moves in here. Well, that looks just about, I mean, not unbreakable, but suspiciously unbreakable. With, again, the Liberator's Liberator range. So ShoWTimE doesn't commit. Is probably just going to be better. If he has control over the map and control over the game, then wait for your Tempest and just start picking his Liberators off one by one. It's much, much better. Adepts and Observer, I think, barely missed that Doom drop. Oh, yeah. Well, maybe they didn't. ShoWTimE is moving back into position.
Yeah, Voiders and Tempest are up here ready to catch them too. Liberators might be able to escort in with some damage, but okay, he's not going to go straight into it.
Hmm.
So I'm just thinking...
unloading first.
If something was suspiciously unbreakable, would that just be like Bruce Willis in a trench coat?
I don't get that. I feel like I'm missing a movie reference.
It's the movie Unbreakable.
Yeah, see, I thought that was a movie and I had never seen it.
What? They even discussed about a sequel coming out recently. Oh, I shouldn't be surprised at this point. Alright, this attack's gonna be pretty nice with the Marauders killing the buildings and the Liberators covering them, but this is not necessarily that great for KeeN, because he's about to get sandwiched in by the other half of the Protoss army.
It's really not that great at all. I mean, this is... Yeah, he doesn't even get like a Nexus on his way out. He gets like a couple of probes. That wasn't too great, but it is one of those things again where that wasn't even like most of KeeN's army, so if he just has time to remake it, it's fine. He takes the time to get into position, actually.
Ghosts are kind of cool. We also got point defense drones soaking up the Tempest shots, so they're not really getting anything here. Point defense drones don't last that long, mind you, so it's going to run out very soon, but I'm waiting to see what the EMPs go on to. I guess the Colossus?
Well, yeah, they're just going to blanket the entire army because there's no high-profile target. I guess the sentries could have Guardian Shield as well, but, I mean, usually TIE Templar with Storms they're really trying to stop, but it doesn't have to, so just blankets the army.
Yeah, gets to the shields, moves them from the fight, not too bad. That second drop didn't actually swing around back, by the way. It went all the way home, only to just now turn around. So he's coming back up to reinforce. I think he now realizes his position is not as bad as he thought it was. ShoWTimE might have a decent army supply, but it doesn't look like he can even engage the army of KeeN. He just had to give up the base by slowly walking away and letting it die.
Yeah, I mean, KeeN taking that maneuver with the medevac to get into the position ended up being pretty damn good. The Tempest are having a tough time, even against a limited number of Vikings. Tanks even having a little bit of support could target fire the Colossus that are very low. Liberators on the wrong side of things. Looks a little bit awkward. A lot of depowering going on here.
Yeah.
Most of the production, in fact.
Didn't pay your power bill, ShoWTimE. Government came to unplug you.
Basically.
However,
I guess I didn't really mention... Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, there was no way for ShoWTimE to really easily move into KeeN. KeeN moving into ShoWTimE was like the best favor KeeN could have done for ShoWTimE.
Yeah, I was gonna mention the +2 already done, and okay, well, now KeeN takes a game.
Yeah, this means both series are tied up 1-1. I don't think we've ever had this happen before, because normally one's done before the other. But awesome stuff. We're gonna go to a commercial break. 2 minutes. See you guys for Game 3 when we get back. All right, folks, we're back, and we're gonna be getting into game number 3. Things are tied up 1-1 in this best of 5. I would like to thank you for tuning into the Corsair Cup. Take a quick moment to sell out and shout out our sponsors, as both Corsair and Twitch have come together to make this monthly season finals possible. So skinny, a bit difficult for me to talk. Sorry about that. So sick. That being said, thank you Slimy Franco for the 24 months, 2 years well spent, and then Racer 2000. I don't know how Slimy Franco didn't dethrone the boss with that resub, but okay. This is Love the Stream, and there was all that question mark stuff from earlier. I think that's just cut up. Awesome. All right, so that out of the way, game 3 underway. In the top left, we have the Blue Terran, KeeN.
In the bottom right is the Red Protoss. It is ShoWTimE. And, yeah, ShoWTimE actually losing a game here in a very, very late game. I mean, it was good tactics from KeeN. Solid micro and micro to get him to that point, but it really was that tactic that really screwed ShoWTimE up. I mean, had Storm been available, there is, I think, a bit of a difference, a bit of a chance there that the position never happens. Because even with the Ghosts, if you really do a good job hiding your High Templars, they'll still get the Storms. And that army was pretty damn pumped up, just protected by Liberators. But he didn't. You know, he went to those Tempests. And had they been in control like they were a mere minute before KeeN did that drop, ShoWTimE's the one that's you know, got KeeN on the fences, on the ropes, constantly pulling back, getting put into a choke. So maybe that is just ShoWTimE taking more aggressive stances Or maybe just more scouting, as he didn't seem to realize the army was moving into position like it was. I'm not sure. I feel like maybe it is more just like don't even let that get to that stage. ShoWTimE went for like kind of a weirder opener that wasn't effective, really, all things considered. I mean, he got to like a 15-minute game despite the opener, but those adepts didn't do a lot of damage, nor do they buy a lot of time. So
well,
back to basics.
I think a part of it is like there's two parts to what ended up leading towards that finals of the game, which I'm actually worried about for this one too. Where one is Widowmine's got damage in, cool, but secondly, like I think composition-wise, Colossus and Disruptors, they have their place in the matchup, but that game there wasn't, I don't feel like many opportunities to use them, and Abyssal Reef is like aside from that fourth, there's not really a lot of abusive places to use Colossus in the first place. So ShoWTimE goes back to like a little bit more standard. We're gonna have a Stargate come out this time around. But the thing I like about the Stargate is like, even if it's just a couple of Phoenix, forget this Oracle for a second, right? But like, even if it's just like 2 or 3 Phoenix, these can make sure Widowmines don't come in and deal damage to you. These can make sure you don't get distracted and lose those workers like ShoWTimE did last game.
Yeah, he did lose workers in a very, very long game though, so I wonder how that much affected his mentality.
Well, I don't think him losing the probes was what, like, oh, you lost 7 probes, there's the game-ending move. But it was more that his defenses were let down, and constantly let down throughout that game. It was almost like a theme, I guess. Like, Liberator comes in towards the 3rd, takes forever for Stalkers to finally get under it, clean it up. Widowmines get in the mineral lines, etc., etc.
Sure. Maybe he just won't stop it won't start the snowball effect if he does open up with the Stargate. But it is an Oracle first this time, unlike that very first game we saw. And then in Phoenixes. And we'll see if he sticks on Resident Enclave's Phoenix or transfers out. I mean, he did have control over that last game at multiple different points, and then he had to back off because of that 3 medevac drop with Liberators, which then snowballed into KeeN getting into position. Right before that, it was ShoWTimE that was kind of leading the charge. So if he just keeps the pressure on, it might work well.
Speaking of leading a charge, this is an oddly timed attack. It's a lot of Marines walking across the map. We've actually seen a lot of Koreans try and pull this off, and in most cases, even Euthermal, I'm thinking, did this too. This usually hits a nice timing where it gets kills. It's not game-ending and devastating, but it is something where this amount of Marines can trade out cost-effectively, usually with what little defenses a Protoss player has. So whether he goes to the natural base or whether he just wants to cancel the 3rd, kill the 3rd, I feel like there's so much killing power with these Marines, he should be able to do it.
Sim is not done, and if the photo had been immediately this might have been different. Yeah, this might have been different, but without the adepts in position, without the militia core, with a nice, comfortable pylon to overcharge, this is going to kill the Nexus, it looks like. I mean, adepts should be able to take care of this.
Well,
but now the Oracle could die with Stim.
He's gonna run away. He's gonna run away to his reinforcements, which is what's gonna be really nice. No medevacs for this, but there's enough Marines here to take on the adepts now. Letting that transfer complete was a big mistake on a ShoWTimE.
He had like 1 second to decide not to do that. I can't even blame that happening. GG, damn.
Damn indeed. That's a cool blitz move out of KeeN, though. I like that.
Yeah, it was. This was not how I expected the game to go. I gave KeeN 1 win, basically thinking about last game scenario, because I feel like I've seen ShoWTimE falter in late game before. I did not expect KeeN to go up 2-1.
I thought this would be a 3-0 without a question in favor of ShoWTimE. So, good stuff out of KeeN. And let's not forget, KeeN is coming in the worst possible condition here. We always bring it up, and he's used to it at this point, but it still needs to be said. It's going from Korea to Europe. There's no worse server combination than this.
China to Australia. I don't know.
I was going to say, if you were to ask Nathanius, he would tell you NA to C, but... thank you, DeFoxy, for that 9-month resub.
DeFoxy.
Like, oh, Honor Grounds will be the next map. Okay. Neat. Someone earlier was asking about the maps. This is the Season 4 finals, and Season 4 played out while the old maps were playing out. So, going forward, all of the new cups and all of the new tournaments we're hosting will have the new map pool, but this will be the last one. Pro opinion, just general consensus is that there's like one good map and everyone else seems to hate the rest of them. So, this new season does not seem to be too loved yet, but that's usually how it goes with every new season.
Yeah, that's certainly true. I hear a lot of talk about Blood Boil being the worst, just not only in design but also bugs. You
I'm
can,
not surprised. There's issues with it during the map test tournament too.
yeah, you can break the rocks from the high ground with melee units, so you can like break it with a probe, which is kind of funny. And then there's also something about like there's like a specific race problem on that map as well, but it's the one that I hear the most about. Whereas the other ones are just general complaints about design. So that's always the worst thing though. Like it's one thing to have a bunch of badly designed maps, I suppose. It's another that you let them into the ladder without full testing.
Blood Bowl is one of Avex's maps, right?
You might be right. I don't remember if that was one he did aesthetically or he actually made it. I don't remember.
Well, I was just going to mention, Avex makes a lot of really good maps out there, and regardless of personal feelings about the guy, I respect what he can do. But the one thing is, like, and I feel like no other map maker's had this happen consistently as him, is he does have a lot of those really dumb bugs. Like, for example, not being able to take gases at thirds. Like, that's happened on almost every single map he's ever made at some point, and you're like, okay, maybe instead of mass producing, you take the time to check for these small things.
One map in each map pool has had that bug, and then both were his. But I don't remember. I really don't. I didn't think Blood Boil was his, but there was one map where he did the aesthetics and someone else did the actual programming. Isn't the right word, but you know what I mean. Like they made it. So
well, the problem I have with this is like we do all these tests on we host a tournament for it, and you think Blizzard would still vet it, not have these bugs make it through to the ladder.
Yeah, it's one of those hard things for me to be too critical about, to be honest, though. I feel like I can be critical because there have been so many maps that haven't had problems, you know? And it does seem to be more lately because of the map tournaments.
Well, we can talk more about it later. This is actually possibly a game-deciding map. Here on the top left, he leads 2-1. And has put his opponent on his last life. It's going to be the Red Terran KeeN.
In the bottom right is the blue Protoss. He is ShoWTimE.
Yeah, my camera locked. 1 second. There we go. So this is actually going to be a really cool opening. This reminds me of the old Bjorn styles of this, where it's not command center first into 3 racks naked, but it's command center first into the 2 with gas, so you can put a reactor and thus have 3 racks for the production. It's kind of like whatever in terms of. Like, you roll your eyes at whether this is good or not for a Terran player to do. But it's really cool watching him go for this after having such success with that maneuver last game. And I do wonder if he's looking for this defensively or offensively.
That's a good question. Instantly add on to reactor in a tech lab. So he's not going to have a lot of Marines initially, but it will build up very soon. There's always a shot that you can just run forward like he did last game, whether it's a 1 racks expand or a CC into multiple racks. If you have Marines at an odd time, it can work. And I'm sure ShoWTimE is going to be a little more wary about such odd timings. This SCV finally getting a scout on what ShoWTimE's doing. ShoWTimE, he has a probe out there, which makes it look like he wants to take a 3rd base. But he is getting a robo. And still not Twilight Council. There's gateways. Nope, just kidding. There's 1 gateway. Well, canceled one.
There's going to be a scary blitz coming down the middle of the map again. That's what it feels like it's going to be. That stim starts up really quick. And KeeN, he hasn't taken more gases, but he takes another engineering bay. So I guess he'll put +1
another?
with this. Sorry, I mean like last game, excuse me. So he doesn't have, not 2 engineering bays, but...
well... KeeN going for command center first doesn't have access to scouting. His SCV, of course, didn't get in there. It's all like a decent number of adepts, but you don't know if you're going to need to deal with oracles or DTs, I guess is another option. But what ShoWTimE did is really interesting as well. Like it looks like he kind of messed up the build. No, he didn't. Well, he changed his mind is what it looks like. He canceled 1 extra gateway, because I think initially maybe he was thinking about just doing, again, like the 3 gateways, warp prism, harassment into 3rd base, but then he added on a robotics bay instead. So he's going to be, I assume, going for disruptor drops, but he isn't getting a warp prism, which usually times up well with the robotics bay as it finishes, so you can build disruptor right after. Oh, it's 2-base Colossus. Man, I feel like it's been forever since I've seen this, so I really wasn't expecting that.
Well,
this it's also so early. Damn.
Well, so actually, I feel like this is a direct counter. Like, he scouted with that probe early and saw the 2 barracks so quick. Sure, he didn't see the actual fast CC, but he can probably guess by the barracks timing what this was going to be. And truthfully, as good as Marines are and as funny as they look to be like OP last game, it doesn't work when there's Colossus in play. Unless that Colossus out in the middle of the map with nothing supporting it, then okay, yeah. It'll work. But for the most part, these Marines are going to be mowed down as they try and push up this ramp, if they try and push up this ramp at all.
Well, as much as KeeN had the opportunity to push forward, I think he saw, when he moved in there, still no third base, and really, I don't think he got a follow-up scout, but point is he decided not to go for the random push out. And I mean, Colossus aren't a bad thing to have this early, and they'll add on to each other later on, right? Like, it's a way to play. You just got them really early, but it's a competition that you can play with, and it's now up to KeeN to see the change up. Now, if ShoWTimE has to defend the third base and move out with only 2 Colossus and his force fields miss, or he doesn't have enough buffer on the ground, KeeN can still overwhelm. KeeN still had decent production, but it's not looking like any of the previous games.
Oh, I just realized you had cat cam on. I guess we can spoil the stream a little bit.
You've been so, like, I've had it on for the last, like, 4 games.
Dude, my brain is no good. I can't.
Yeah, apparently.
It sucks being sick. My nose is, head's clogged up, whatever. But yo, Apollo, and not Nugget in the hammock again. What up?
Nugget's off to the right side, so. Done before.
Alright, so KeeN didn't blitz across the map. What I think's kind of funny about that, though, is like he never really had much. Like, you look at what he scouted, what he scanned. There wasn't anything here to tell him like it was Colossus. So maybe he was just playing defensive with this, which is totally something you can do with a stop. Yun used to do it all the time versus Protoss. But regardless of how the opening went, production's kicked off soundly. I think with double Stargate or starports, he knows it's Colossus.
I'm pretty sure that scanner build the Colossus that he had in the main base. It also saw the Robo, but I think it saw the Army legitimately as well. Because that was a pretty strong reaction if you were even a little bit, like, uncertain. I'm going to start off with continued medevac and Liberator production, but this is double reactor, so it is very clearly going to be for Vikings. If you're going to go Liberators, it's better to get the range. Although I guess some people might disagree. Some people might want to have 4 Liberators at a time. But I'm going to guess it's for the Vikings. And that'll be a very strong army eventually, but this is looking like it's going to be taken to the late game. I mean, just by ShoWTimE going for Colossus opener in Colossus style, it kind of puts him into the later game. And that's, well, I mean, I guess he lost both games, an early game and a late game. But the late game, KeeN definitely took control very quickly and kind of slapped ShoWTimE for being out of position once.
So when you see what that is, Colossus Disruptors, like, I love ShoWTimE's army. If you can get a head-on engagement, fantastic, but KeeN's going to be looking to do drops. He's going to be looking to harass. He's not going to be looking to fight those Colossus head-on Maru styles anytime soon.
That wouldn't be ideal. Drops would have been good and still could be good, as Blink isn't done. There really isn't anything anti-drop for ShoWTimE other than any amount of pressure he can put on with his War Prism. And if KeeN had taken advantage of that, I think he really could have, but not the case. They both are playing very just straight-up macro. Scan goes down once again on the army, I'm guessing to see just how many Colossus there are, and if there are any Disruptors already, which there was, so he scanned it. He is making 4 Liberators at a time, by the way. Like, he still has delayed Viking production. Not what I expected, and he's... Well, upgrades on the air doesn't change my mind about that, but I just didn't expect no Liberator range upgrade. And if he wanted to get that, he'd have to get a 3rd starport, which is what he does.
Yeah, and fusion for some things, so definitely the direction he's setting. Micro with War Prism and the Adepts keeps them alive, extends the longevity. These Marines actually are not going to be enough. These plus EVs, 2 of the Adepts go down. This is kind of annoying for KeeN to have to deal with.
Yeah. Now, they're both almost matched on workers. In fact, they're perfectly matched for the 6 SVs guide. But they're also matching on bases. So, okay, funny Liberators chasing off a War Prism, but they have just enough damage to be scary.
This is a wall.
Yeah, I mean, KeeN was totally prepared to be attacked at some point or another. And ShoWTimE could have moved out with, like, 2 Colossus trying to control the game, with how defensive KeeN has been, but there wasn't a way for him to really know that. I'm still kind of sitting here surprised that, 1, there's 3 starports already in play, and that 2, KeeN never tried to drop at all. And now it'll probably be too late, because now is the time where they have Blink, but they also might be getting High Templars, and you just don't really want to drop into feedbacks. This game has been so passive.
Alright, well, we're going to test the camera jitter bug here. I'm going to put the camera on you for a moment. After the fight, this goes really well for ShoWTimE. He's top of the medevacs. Go get camera on you. Be back just 1 sec.
So yeah, he's moving out with a small task force that might have also been picked up if he hadn't been scouted and sent for a drop. Liberator sees what's available, and that is just Photon Overcharges. And DTs. I don't know why they're whipping over here. But KeeN getting even a bit of a secret base as the game really just, it's very apparent it's going to go to late stages. This command center wasn't turned into a planetary, but that might be a good thing. Clearly, KeeN wasn't prepared to take a fight, so he'd rather just save it and not have to defend it. And he is going to save it. Burning, but still alive. Liberator range is almost done, but even without it, he has this wall. He has a decent ground army. In fact, he's pretty confident that he won't be broken. He does lift up 3 medevacs. And ShoWTimE has once again skipped High Templar, so no fear of feedbacks. Now he's on his way to Tempest, and this is vaguely familiar to the last game, where, like, you know, this is ShoWTimE taking control of the... Uh-oh. Found a hole in KeeN's defenses. Liberators have to reposition. There's not much else going on here. The bio has been entirely pulled away. Another drop was picked up. And KeeN might have just made a huge mistake, kind of taking... or trying to bluff ShoWTimE into never pushing the Liberators. It looks like, though, the Stalkers didn't really do a great job of quickly killing the Liberators. So the army tries to come back to deal with this, and they do drop on top of the Colossus, making their splash a little bit less effective. While he can't clean it up entirely, he does get rid of a good chunk of the army. Of course, ShoWTimE also reinforcing back at home is able to deal with this. KeeN does take just a straight-up loss, but he's at least holding on. Well, this is what I feel like this is what could have happened last game when ShoWTimE had that control over the army, but he pulled back to deal with the drops instead of pushing in to take advantage of the bio-less army. This game was the reverse. He actually pushed in. He found a little bit of a hole to the south side, and KeeN did not reposition his Liberators fast enough. Or do they have enough protection? There was obviously no Widow Mines to deal with either, which might have been a good tell for ShoWTimE to blink in, as the factory had been lifted for so long. And while he blinks in, he also shades in. And the army of KeeN just gets demolished. Colossus not necessary. This is still dealing with DTs and is just being stimmed to death. And ShoWTimE is going to win this game. Really no question about it, but I think KeeN with an extra command center or 2 is thinking maybe. But no, it's not going to happen.
No, this is looking a little bit overwhelming. I think you're covering over me. Popping bit. Hey, game 5! Ace match!
Hey!
Alright, well, we're going to go to a small break, guys. I've also poked Neeb to see if he's had any luck getting back on. It looks like he has, so we'll do this game 5, then we'll go back to the Bly versus Neeb series afterwards. So, sit tight. We'll see you soon. Alright, folks, we're back. Thanks for watching that break. So we're still waiting on the map selection here. Finally picks Cactus Valley. It was a little bit awkward because KeeN was trying to pick from the new map pool. Don't think he realized what the situation was. Blood Boil's an imbalanced map. 10 mineral patches and the natural 1 gas. Terran vs. Toss Berserk with blah 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 blah. Mega Doc, thank you for the 100 bits. I'm beat with that map is all I need to read from that sentence. Or that paragraph. I have not actually played the new season of Ladder yet. I barely played any last season. I feel really bad because... Well, I don't feel bad. I love co-ops. I play StarCraft daily. I just don't play Ladder anymore, really. And I know some people will be like, well, Rifkin, what business do you have casting StarCraft? Luckily, I get to watch players much better than me every single day. But, I don't know. I was not thrilled with the maps from last season. However, I did enjoy it. Like, seeing Sequencer and some others actually has kind of made me I don't know, feel that ladder itch. It just sucks that there's other maps, though, that like Blood Boil, I guess, that offset it, question mark.
Maps have very rarely been the thing that turned me off from laddering. It's more just like laziness and general ladder anxiety.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. Racial imbalance is the first thing that's going to turn me off.
I guess that's true too. What strategies are prevalent is definitely one of the more obnoxious things. But I think we have plenty of excuses. Like I kind of forgot the ladder map pool had been updated because we were in Austin, and then we were traveling, and then you were sick, and I was casting. Like, I didn't really have time to think about the fact there was a new ladder map pool. So.
It's okay. It keeps you in the right mentality to be fresh and ready to cast these maps here, such as this one. Game number 5, Cactus Valley. This is, of course, the semifinals for the Corsair Cup, sponsored by both Corsair as well as Twitch. If you guys want to support us through Twitch, then consider subscribing or cheering or doing anything related to Twitch on the channel. Follow the channel, all that good stuff. But of course, if you want to support Corsair, give them some love right back for this. Tweet them pictures of your Corsair gear. Buy Corsair gear with our affiliate links down below. And remember, we will get a percentage of the purchases you guys make through those links. Even if you click the link for the headset and then navigate elsewhere on the website to, say, for example, the RAM, still works the same way. So thank you, Corsair, for making this possible. Thank you for Twitch making this possible. But up here in the top left, I don't know why I said that's so funny, it's going to be the red Terran KeeN.
In the top right is the Teal Protoss. It is showtime. Your swivels look so stupid when it's all jittery.
Well, not just that, but it's like breaking in the middle of the swivel and just locking into like this 45 weird degree angle. How do I fix this again? Alright, so by the way, a bit of a gamble out of ShoWTimE as he does put the Stargate here, knowing that his opponent is either top or bottom on the left side of the map.
Yep. As long as he really didn't gamble, because we have seen that before, where they literally just like send it to the middle and put it like...
Speaking of that, did you hear? Apparently we've made it in the world.
I didn't hear that at all.
Not because we're Korean casters, but we've apparently made it in the world. You know, we've generally stayed away from a lot of betting sites and other things like that, and I don't bet online, even though apparently I can. What's up, Canada? But I had a couple people message me, and people brought this up during the cast yesterday, so I don't know if you saw it because you were busy actually casting. But apparently a couple of betting sites actually have categories for us now. Like you can actually search the tag BaseTradeTV through them. So on one hand I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
I didn't see that.
But on the other it's kind of like, well, it doesn't mean anything to us really. It's just a cool like recognition, I guess. Yeah.
As someone who lives in Virginia, I specifically can't even bother. So
most Americans
that's fine.
Can't even bother. But hey,
there's like 10 states that can, and they're all the important big ones that I wish I lived there.
Well, Riamar asserts himself and shows dominance as the bit boss with a $25 donation. Thank you so much, saying, the one time I'm here to do stuff and Twitch bugs out on me, sad face. Hi. I don't believe that's really Riamar, though. I feel like that was someone trying to pretend to be Riamar. Because they got the hi down pat, but then they put other words in the message.
Yeah. I think he knows where the Widowmine is. Motion must have seen the line at some point.
Unfortunately, if you're not placing this Widowmine in the most random of locations that should never hit anything. I feel like every time I watch GSL, like those Widowmines just go to the most stupid spots you would never think to go to, and somehow, like, air units get attracted to it, and it just works.
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes I feel like it's very, very random. Other times it's very clear that they just face that same Warp Prism line for games and games and games. In this case, I'm sure that KeeN would have wanted to reposition his Widowmine as something a little bit more random, but the militia core was literally on his butt when it popped out, so he had to just put it where he could. No second Oracle, just Phoenix is now being produced from that proxy Stargate, and KeeN's gonna try and take advantage of the lack of units. He had caught the militia core that would have been deadly, but he's still catching it without a pylon to overcharge. This is still potentially a lot of damage.
I actually really like how close he brought that to the pylon too. Revelation not going to be available. He's going to have to walk away from the overcharge, but that Widowmine's in a pretty good spot if he could catch the stalker, I'd say.
Yeah. Man, if it could hit buildings, I think it would have been worth. And then you would have been able to tap that pylon down, but it doesn't even say it for the probe. Okay, that could have been much, much worse. The KeeN has to back off.
Yeah. Of course, Revelation at some point is going to come up, but he can clean up that Widowmine. Last thing he wants is that thing unburrowing and walking over to the mineral line, but perhaps when KeeN recognizes that Stalker's being microed,
what the?
Attention might be missing.
2 Vikings. We usually see 2 Vikings.
I guess if you're worried about air. Looks like this did get cleaned up, by the way.
Okay, well, ShoWTimE is now returning the aggression after being the first aggressor. So it's just back and forth, back and forth. No third bases for anyone quite yet. Adept soaks the shot. Bunker is ready. A lot of Terrans would have skipped that bunker, and that would have been a chance for ShoWTimE to make this blink attack work. But even with the bunker on the low ground, there is that high ground oracle. ShoWTimE could jump over to the main base.
This is an ambitious Marine.
Yeah, there's really nothing for KeeN, like, long term. Finally, he starts stim and combat shields, but he doesn't have a tank to help him with positioning. He has Vikings, that if this was a Warp Prism attack, he would crucially kill the Warp Prism, but it's not. Blink is revealed. That probably was worth killing the medevac. Sometimes that's questionable, but that's the only medevac there.
Yeah. You know the production is going to be low, too, especially if you saw 2 Vikings out already, right? Like, you're not going to have 4 medevacs behind that ready to go anytime soon. Stalkers blink up to the high ground. This completely bypasses the bunker. They're going to get combat shields, but he doesn't want them to get stimmed, so he rushes to the defense, trying to repair this.
Yeah, I don't think... okay, getting combat shields is already pretty good, and that stim isn't even that far done, so... Yeah, I think it's a better move to just try and take as many SCVs as you can. There's really only one direction out of Cactus Valley for Blink Stalkers, so it's really not that great of a map for it. But that was some good harassment.
You forgot about the second way out of Cactus Valley, actually. It's going straight to hell.
Oh, I was going to say, like, off to the natural? I don't think he's going to blink that way.
Yeah, it's a little bit left. You take the natural, go left, you find yourself right in hell.
Oh, gotcha. So the Warp Prism is going to really maybe start tearing KeeN apart. So ShoWTimE, funnily enough, doesn't know what he got when he killed that. That could have been Marauder slow, really, for all he knew. And then, you know, Combat Shield was being pushed off. But it was either Combat Shield or Sim. That's the safest guess. And he's not sure which one.
Picking up Stalkers is a little bit questionable.
Combat Shields would have been done a lot sooner. So if he couldn't pick off Combat Shields, he would have seen the Marines have them. But this is like getting really, really, like, tiny noticeable. So I think you just got to assume that Sim's about to finish. It's a safer way to go.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't warp into depths to go for harass there. Instead, using all the money he'd been saving up to go for Colossus, which is not bad. It's not that many Vikings out, so there's no hard counter to them.
No. I mean, the fact that there's Vikings at all, plural, is a little weird. But KeeN is quite worried, I think, about that Warp Prism and the Blink Stalkers, and now that he has Revelation on his medevacs as well, is even more paranoid. A Combat Shield is finishing up, and he does have a good army. He scans the third base was in fact taken after his Marine died, and it's almost done. But he still isn't quite sure that it's not like, you know, a mass amount of Adepts covering those Stalkers, so he's being quite cautious. Really, his army just absolutely obliterates this very tiny one of ShoWTimE. He even gets a Stalker with Bunker.
Well, that was actually some really cool micro out of KeeN that almost cost him one of his medevacs.
I think seeing that it was only Stalkers moving like that, he should feel comfortable moving out. Doesn't quite see the Observer, but I guess he also still has Revelation on him, so like, what's the difference? Oh, there you go again. He will have better upgrades than ShoWTimE for like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. ShoWTimE goes for a double forge.
I mean, it'll be nice, but I don't feel like upgrades make that big of a deal in this low of an army count. Like, you give them like 15 more Marines, and I think like weapon upgrades are huge, right?
Possible. I mean, they would actually take a fight, and they've been so passive in a lot of these games. I don't know if that's really going to happen, but like an entire 1-1 upgrade over 0-0 with a concave on top of Colossus, and that might be the life or death difference. But the single Viking over here, I guess the other one was put off to the right side. This is at least distracting KeeN, so he is chasing all these units and not losing too much. He did have to stall out on his attack. An Observer sees where the army is and sees it moving to the south. Yes, sees it moving to the south. Now he knows where to position his army. This is finishing up right with +1. 2 Colossus is still pretty scary, though. Like, I think this is enough, especially with Guardian Shield.
There's only 2 Liberators, though, so this is going to be really hard to, like, leapfrog a position forward.
Yeah, I think ShoWTimE's fine. Like, even in this, like, pretty good concave area, there's just so many Adepts. And they do have Resident Enclaves. And not much to be done here. If there was more Vikings, and they could even KO 1 Colossus, that might be very different. Even, like, especially right here. I mean, look, this is perfect positioning for a Viking. ShoWTimE would have messed up if there's 4, but there's only 2.
And the only way to get up there is to blink with the Stalkers, but if you do that, then you're going to just get wrecked by the bio and not have the proper support for it. So Liberators start setting up. The Stalkers are baited successfully forward. KeeN's getting the fight that he wants out of this, but the Colossus still standing behind. However, not for long. The Vikings pushing one of them back up to the north. Marauders looking to collapse on the ones to the south. And this is starting to look a little bit rough for ShoWTimE.
One very weak Colossus not being targeted down. In fact, hitting the Oracle accidentally, I would say, instead. And those two Colossus just took out about half the remaining army because it was so stimmed and so low.
Not to mention funneled into a choke like that. So this may have been an okay defense out of ShoWTimE, but there's still a little bit more coming, and his army supply is just not there.
I remember KeeN is on 2 base all in, 40 SCVs, having lost a few of those adepts.
True.
It doesn't work, but the upgrades have even out, and ShoWTimE still has Potent Overcharge and a couple of Colossus.
The Overcharge is buying a little bit of time. The army supply is still not exactly growing big for ShoWTimE. It's alarming that he might not actually have a way to deal with these Liberators correctly. He's going to sacrifice Colossus straight up, or Stalkers, excuse me, every time he wants to go underneath one of these.
Yeah, that's definitely the most worrying part here. Even a single Wood of Mine is also going to make this like a little bit more suspicious too. It's going to pop up on those Stalkers. Colossus ran up that ramp, and unfortunately one got sniped, the other one barely alive.
This Colossus sitting at 6 health. I like that pickup to go kill it.
It was the Viking that killed it, but that was a cool idea. This is just such a like small army, man. It's all almost dead now. KeeN barely unable to reinforce enough. 7 probes go down, but the hold is still happening. Adept still just barely powerful enough with their upgrades finally finished.
Ooh, that medevac might be dry, but he still doesn't want to lose it.
I feel like ShoWTimE has got the defense, man. Like KeeN might have lifted up his command center, and 40 ICDs can still kind of saturate both mineral lines, but ShoWTimE's the one that's going to have even 30 seconds means that he gets a stronger line of adepts, Guardian Shields energy raked up, a new mothership core, and more Colossus. I mean, he even finds the minerals and gas to start 2-2 because I guess his production wasn't quite matching his bank, but like that won't be in effect for quite some time. So it's everything else I think that makes him feel very secure. But now that he has 2-2 on the way as well, and KeeN is still playing that macro game, second Starport, Ghost Academy on the way, the upgrades will be pretty crucial.
Let's see here. To the even read chat, BaseTradeTV Rifkin, your volume is very low. / timeout. Intiques 60. Your volume is now low too. I don't know if my volume's low or not, guys. We had complaints about this earlier, and then people said it was fixed. If it's not working so hot now, then I don't know what to tell you. But the levels look good on my side, so if there are issues, then let there be issues, I guess. Question mark.
What? Oh, my bad. Thought there was more camera bugs. All right, so the game continues on.
Camera bugs.
ShoWTimE did hold, but it wasn't the cleanest. And KeeN, while continuing to reinforce, did somewhat smoothly lift and transfer his main command center.
Wait, did he build a second starport already? Okay, he does. I was gonna say, this is kind of crazy. I like the scout of the factory, but not if it's suicidal like this. However, this, you mentioned it before, we're going back to it again, like this is still 2 bases all in on a KeeN. This is so dedicated that he's even pulling the boys. God knows how long it's been since we've seen this happen, but the boys are being pulled. And I guess, oh man, I said the greatest idea for a tournament. We'll put that on pause for now though. Goes to the front line, looking for the EMPs. Doesn't really matter what they hit as long as they hit something. Scan also reveals that there are going to be some hallucinations with the army.
The scan doesn't last forever, and you can still accidentally target them, so I do like that move from ShoWTimE. I also like that he's giving up the 4th base. He doesn't need a 4th. He kind of needs a 3rd. Like, that was his 3rd. That'd be a little more suspicious, but if the SCVs are really being pulled, the 4th is unnecessary.
Well, the Colossus are getting picked apart by the Vikings, and the Stalkers should be cleaning this up, but if it comes down to a ground army versus ground army, there's no Colossus in play. The Marauders are going to win every single time. So all he has to do is get rid of that last Colossus, but he doesn't quite get it. ShoWTimE's Colossus with 56 health might just be the difference maker in this fight.
I think the Adept Warpins are also going to really work out here. Disruptor even comes forward. I mean, it is very close, and if there are Immortals in play, that would have really been the kicker.
GG,
Go ShoWTimes.
ShoWTime. 2 times defends is such a scary all-in.
KeeN really has impressed me more in that series in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Quite good.
That was like, and of course that's off server stuff. ShoWTime is how it is, but for those who don't know, like the top foreigners do earn a reputation in Korea. Like they don't just shun foreigners like they used to. A lot of them know that Neeb is scary, that ShoWTime is scary, and like the fact that KeeN went toe to toe off server like that is fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. That was very impressive. But now we're going back into live versus Neeb.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look and see what the deal with that is. Neeb should be online and good to go. They might just be AFK or something. But all right, we're gonna go to a small commercial break while we get it set up. Thank you guys for tuning in, and keep in mind we're gonna be seeing ShoWTime fight the winner of this next series. So see you soon.